Everyone, welcome to the show. Today I'm going to give you every single reason I can find or think about TA wise, news wise, and just common sense wise, things happening in the world, right? Why I think Bitcoin has bottom and therefore cryptocurrency, because I don't know if you know, but there's stuff happening in the background, right? Ever since FTX, the news and the politicians and everyone and their mom has been telling you that crypto's a scam. And it's worked. Crypto is completely dead. The best one has been Bitcoin so far, but everything else is dead, right? Because most people don't understand money, so they don't understand Bitcoin. And so therefore they don't understand something like Ethereum or Cardano and smart contracts or what privacy means, right? But all these things are coming whether you guys like it or not. There's an update coming, right? And while they're telling you it's a scam, there's BlackRock. Just Google who BlackRock is if you don't know, because they fucking own half of the world. And they're also connected to all these other corporations. They're supposed to be independent. But when you dig into it, right, just look at Ian Carroll's work. It's the same people, guys. Only a few people truly run the world. And the way they do that is through power they maintain, through the currency, through the money. Because we're using bad money, money controlled by a few, for a few, and from debt that they pass on to us while they enrich themselves, right? So this is why this matters, guys. Doesn't matter if you hate Bitcoin or not. You need to listen up. It's in the charts. So reason number one is that governments are going to print more money. This is insane. We are 39 trillion and counting in debt. And this was never meant to be paid off, right? We can never pay this because even if we paid them, the banks, this money back, there's still the interest that has been accumulating that doesn't exist that you have to borrow from them, right? This is just an illusion. It's a stupid game. We're playing fractional reserve system. We're exchanging our hard work, our times with our families for these worthless pieces of paper that can just print. We're just playing Monopoly, right? We need to wake up to that. If you don't know that, then now you know, I guess. And turns out to be 113,000 or 114,000 per taxpayer. So I'm having a baby, a daughter. She's going to be an American citizen. This is how much she already owes. But per taxpayer is $357,000 in debt. But that's confusing, right? Because look over here, refund per taxpayer, $83,000. These is the Treasury reserves. There's a lot of information here that I'm going to break down in another video. But look over here. Dollar to crypto ratio now. 8.62 to $1. But in the bull, it was 9,000 to $1. And this is where you guys need to pay attention, right? Number two right now is this. Iran has mandated that oil tankers pay a $1 per barrel toll in cryptocurrency to transit the Strait of Hormuz. A move designed to bypass the U.S. sanctions and the traditional dollar-based banking system. And this is going to require formalized under the Strait of Hormuz Management Plan, passed in late March. So the key details. Well, they can pay, apparently I know they can pay either with Bitcoin or stable coins or the yuan, right? Chinese money. But as an American and most people around the world, I don't think they're gonna be buying or converting their money to yuan, right? So I think the next move is cryptocurrency. Especially if imagine you're a citizen in Iran or Palestine. It doesn't make sense to have a bunch of gold stack. How are you gonna move it when you're getting bombed? It makes more sense to sell that and to turn that into a cryptocurrency that governments can't just make more of or debase, right? So pay attention. And I don't think America is going to be able to defeat Iran. It's the Strait of Hormuz. Remember the movie 300, where it was 300 Spartans against Persia? Well, now we're fighting the Persians. They learned the lesson, and the Strait of Hormuz is our crossing of the Rubicon, right? Which was this short little landmass where 300 Spartans stood against the greater Spartan Empire, which is now America. But Trump fell into it. So now we're in it. And these countries, BRICS, are working together to destroy the dollar any way they can. And if it means crypto, it's crypto, right? On top of that, Trump is crypto, even though he's just screwed crypto completely with his meme coins, Melania coins, and his World Liberty token. But him and his family stand to profit, right? Just ask Barron. He's not going to war, but he's over here playing with meme coins and shit. And so that's the reason why crypto's gonna go up, right? And there's regulations happening in the background, guys. The banks are fighting for yields, which means your money. They're fighting for your interest payments, right? Your rewards. They don't want your money to work for you. So if crypto is that, like been telling you forever, then why are they fighting us in the courts for yields? Because they know the jig is up, kind of. But I also think they're working together because Jamie Dimon from Chase invested in Consensus, which is behind Ethereum. There's these crypto cartels forming. It's the Trump family, the XRPs, the Ethereum Foundation, the Solanas, the ones you hear in the television all the time, right? Larry Fink from BlackRock, again, they own half of the world, is saying one chain to rule them all and all this shit. Pay attention, all right? And Jamie Dimon, they have their own blockchain now. And you guys have to understand how BlackRock's connected to the new stablecoin, USDC, which is connected to Coinbase and this company called Circle, and that's connected to BlackRock. It's all coming, guys. They're going to tokenize the world, not only because it makes more sense, it's a better form to money, it's a better form of moving value around the world that we couldn't do that before in the internet. Because the blockchain is just a way of different tracks or different pictures being different because the data behind it is either private or it gives you access to like a party or different things, right? You don't know what the metadata is. And that's why blockchain is different than the internet, where every song or every picture is exactly the same. But most people don't understand that. But now you're going to have your wedding certificates in the cloud, on the chain. You're going to have your school records on chain. You're going to have your medical records on chain. You're going to have your money on chain. You're going to have your real estate properties on chain, your birth certificate, because why the hell do we still have security numbers, right? We need an update, guys. All right. What else? Oh, all right. So let's go. Well, yeah, it's like this. And they always say it's over and always comes back, and we're at support just like this shows. And look at things like this, right? In 2016, 664 Bitcoin is all you needed to buy this property. But now 3.7 Bitcoin instead of 600, right? Over time is going down, you see. This house today in 2025 that's worth 434,000, right? So less Bitcoin buys you more expensive house. And that's because governments can't just make more money, right? Which is what I'm saying. This is my number one reason. Governments and banks are just going to government and do what they do, man. So now I think we should get into the TA, right? With Bitcoin. First line, I didn't come up with it myself, but as you can tell, there's multiple ways that we could have gone this bottom. But there's this cool line I saw Gary Soloway right here break down on Altcoin Daily. So let's check it out.
And the one thing I have here is this trend line. This trend line marked the high of 2017, the first high in 2021, and it literally marked a triple peak here in 2025. And so if we're talking out, let's talk out, I don't know, let's say.
Yeah, I didn't catch that line. That's usually not how I do that, but I got to give them props. That's a great line. I think it's from here to this top. Boom, you get the next top, right? That just shows you the power of these lines. And now this current bottom we're in, where I'm going to argue now in a technical sense, right? So this is beyond the emotion, beyond the headlines and the news and all that, right? Is traders want to buy high, low, and sell high, right? And that's why you use these lines. And look at Gary's line, super powerful. You could have taken profits right there. You would have been felt pretty good. But now at this current bottom, I'm going to call multiple bottoms just by using lines. Look at this from here to here, let's say. Look, when it breaks out, right, you buy, boom. And so now we're trying to call, well, before I get to those lines, let's start from the bottom. The candle down after this bull run, right, it's here. And if you connect it to the first line, it gives you that one. But usually you want to expand it to the next one, right? And then you start another one, which would have given you from here to, then you end up right there. Oh, it's just, I should be on the 1 week, sorry. That's where I found it. So I'm going to remove this one. Although, maybe if World War III starts, maybe Bitcoin does go over here, right? I don't know. I just know these lines are going to bounce it. But let's start this over from the first candle to the candle. Boom, there you go. Look, you got your first hit. right? And I had this line on my Bad Money. Follow me, guys. Here, I called the top on gold with one line. I'll show you guys, but and Bitcoin measure in silver and gold. I was telling people about this. Look at gold top. I called it as it was happening, as it was approaching, as it was because it was finding support on Bitcoin Gold before it happened. I made a whole video about it or two. And telling you guys the dollar's gonna collapse too. So follow me there. See, in January, I already had this line, and that's another reason why I think crypto and Bitcoin had bottom. Because look at Bitcoin measuring gold. This is before it happened. Right now we're measuring support, but look, getting this old line, and Gary, and look at his line, right? It called the top. It also works on the bottom. We don't know if these lines are going to hold, but we know that it's going to bounce the price, and that's what's happened, right? And look, it's exactly the same as Bitcoin measure in silver. So that's why I think it's manipulation, man. Also, gold and silver look exactly the same. Look at this gold chart, right? Look at this little hill, right? Now look at silver. It was the same exact line. So, and I hit exactly the same, right? So that's the second, there's another reason, right? So here you go. There's one bottom. You could have done it that way. If you could have done it from here to first candle to the next candle, and it wasn't so accurate. It doesn't seem like it, but on the daily, it's actually pretty accurate. But on the daily, you would have gotten it perfect, right? That's the one I had. From here, you go to the first candle, to the next open candle, and you end up here. And in this moment in time, right, nothing broke above here. You found resistance, and when we finally broke out, it usually happens, you come back and you retest the line, and then boom. Oh, you guys can't see, but look, right? Come back, you retest, and boom, chinga su madre. So that's another way. That's two ways, right? You could have called the current bottom. And also, I think it's kind of cool. Let's go back to the weekly here. That where this old support here, this line I had here in the beginning, this important level. Also, you could have called it that way. And now I was playing around with this indicator I never used before, but it's interesting. Well, let's start with the 2 week, because this is the whole history of Bitcoin, and this thing's only gone off this red line 1, 2, 3 times, right? And before that, nothing. So look, if you would have bought Bitcoin right here, the first hit, yeah, you look like that would have been the best buy ever, son, right? But then the next time, but right here you dipped under the thing. I think there's another one that'll show you more, but the next time was here. Look at that. Would have been a okay buy, because then you went a little lower, but still freaking great over time, right? So now it's saying it's going off again. So either we bottom or we're going to bottom, because I could see us going to a little gap right here, filling that in. Maybe we go here, and now we're meeting something like the 200 SMA on the 1 week, which is the one everyone waits for, because we always go touch it at the end of these bears. The last time we actually went under it. So that's what I'm saying. Maybe go touch this line. I don't know. Either way, is a good time to begin to buy Bitcoin, right? Pay attention to everything I'm telling you guys. So, and this is a 1 week. Oh yeah, on the week, look, it's going off right now. So it's saying we bottom. Let me take this off again, because we had it like that. And this line looks off on the weekly, but it looks correct on the daily. So it's going off right now. So this could be a potential bottom. And look, on the weekly, right here went off, right here. I think you get a better setup. It went off right here at the bottom, although there was some bad signal. So maybe we could expect that to happen here. Maybe some turbulence. That's not out of order, but like in the past happened where it was literally called the bottom right here. Pretty close to it, huh? All right, would have been the bottom candle. Oh yeah, pretty right. And then right here, look at that, the right candle. So maybe this time it's not as accurate, but that's another reason why I think we're bottoming out. So the way we'll end finally is because, let me go back into the daily. We're breaking out of this resistance, all right? So from the same candle, we connected to the last candle we can, which is here. There's nothing else I can connect to here, right, at this point in time. So now we're attacking this level. So either right now we're gonna fake out, maybe hit our heads on one of these untested levels, like this might be the main one, right, that guy, I mean, we all the way over here, maybe tomorrow morning, but then watch out for the retest because it has to hold here in the retest. Maybe it just goes up. Maybe we're building some sort of new trend, right? But I don't know. Or it's going to fail and we're going to fall back here again. And maybe we do test that level, that, right? Something like down here or something. That might be possible. We hit the 200 SMA. So we'll know the pain is over when we get above here. But either way, though, this is the best area to begin to accumulate cryptocurrency, right? Without the emotions, without the headlines. Even though I show you the headlines and the reality behind it is that we're moving to a new age. The dollar's failing and we need an update, right? But this is just the beginning, guys. Bitcoin was just a Trojan horse. And I don't think the politicians and the corporations really know what they just unleashed, because there's other crazy projects out here that are actually decentralized. Like Bitcoin and Ethereum are pretty decentralized. I think the crypto, if you have multiple, the more cryptos we have, the more decentralized it is, which is what I think we're going to have to realize, that the past was about socialism versus capitalism. But in the future, it's going to be centralization versus decentralization. And maybe some things should be centralized, right? Like Disneyland might have their own blockchain or for video games. But when it comes to our money and our records, you need actually mathematically secure and proven blockchains. And that's something, the only peer-reviewed blockchains that I know about is Cardano and ADA, right? Which is the same people. And this Night token, learn about it, because now this is a 4th generation crypto that allows us to do things that no other crypto could have done before, and just got to airdrop into all these other blockchains like Ethereum and Solana and Bitcoin and XRP and all that. And people were able to mine it. There was no rich people buying it before anyone, no VC money. It was just airdrop free to all of us. It's still being airdrop because it's being airdropped slowly, and as you can see, it's just dead, right? No one cares about it because no one knows what it is, but trust me, you need this. And Google already said that Cardano is quantum ready and one of the most decentralized chains. And look, we're at rock bottom. You need to begin to learn about it. And if you like what is happening, because I think Cardano is basically trying to be America 2.0, the first digital nation. You're going to be able to vote in here, have your school records in here, your medical records in here. Hopefully, right? Because BlackRock and all these people wanting to go to a centralized chain, right? They want you to go to something like Ethereum or something they control. But either way, you just want to make money, right? If you don't care about freedom. It's time to start buying Ethereum as well. I had this line in my Bad Money 619 again. Follow me here, guys, for all the predictions. I had Ethereum lines here. Let me see if I can find it. Look, ADA. This is last year, right? I already had the same lines. But anyways, this is ADA right here. Freaking sexy, son. But yeah, you want some more crazy shit go there. But look, this line on the monthly, right? So that's how I have those 2 dots. And you know these lines now, right? I just proved it to you in the manipulation. Look, you got multiple bounces off of there. And right now we're trying to build support. So if Ethereum holds right, then obviously it's going to come out of here. And then this was a big old fake out, right? But I don't know. And this is the total crypto market. Maybe we fell out this gap. Maybe we dropped to here. I don't know, you know? Maybe which would have been here. Maybe we do. But either way, I think this is a good time to begin to DCA, or at least learn about these projects, right? So, but remember, Ethereum is not as decentralized, and BlackRock owns it, and there's all these other chains with Base Chain and Coinbase behind it. So, you know, learn. Got something like XRP, which is one of the biggest donors to to Donald Trump. Let's go. That's on the monthly. On the weekly, you see, we're trying to build support off of this line. So if XRP can get above here and just hold this line, I expect higher prices. It might be trying to build a new trend here. Let's see. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, it's looking, especially on the daily, right? We've been here for weeks. Look, just riding this line. Look at that. 2 dots from here, right? Look, look at this rejections. This line started here, so I just put it after the last drop. But look, holding it. We're trying to build support off of it, so that's a great sign. But again, look, you don't want to buy like when gold was pumping, right? Like up here. That's the line that I had when I called the top on gold. So again, I don't go off base of the news and all that. Look, the power of these lines. Look how many times we've found support off of this line here. Boom, 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 boom. You lost it, you kissed it, and then gold went fucking sideways for 10 years. Look at that. Before, this is I, right, at the time. And 10 years later over here, boom, right into our line that I had at my, did I say Bad Money 619? I have no followers. I need to make money somehow. Having a kid, guys. Help a brother out, I guess. And I think the dollar is gonna collapse. Look, we already have multiple rejections right here, and as I showed you doing my X, it was there. I think we're going all the way over here. You heard it here first, guys. Let's see what Trump is doing with his world liberty thingamajig. Just dump it, because they got Justin Sun from Tron. He was an asshole too, so I think they stole his money. But look, this is bottom. We're there. I bet we touch this yellow line and probably reverses. Or maybe not. Maybe Trump is screwed. This is the Fed printing money. Look, it's starting to turn. That means if we're printing more money, that means the dollar is going to collapse, right? Which means you're better off in anything but the dollar. But I recommend crypto because if you look at, well, silver too. Look, we call the top right there on silver. But if you look at Bitcoin silver, we're breaking out of this resistance, right? I already showed you that this is what happened after my post. Look, kiss, kiss. And now we're breaking out. Maybe we do come down here again, right? Maybe Bitcoin dumps a little bit more. But we're still bottoming out, in my opinion. Maybe after the regulation, there's a quick drop, you know, because the corporations want to get their hands on some more cheap crypto. They want to buy it, scare the shit out of us before they pump it. And then you got, oh, wait. This is H-bar. All these cryptos, look, are hitting this resistance. But first I wanted to show you Bitcoin measure in gold because it's the same exact chart, right, as the Bitcoin measure in silver. Same thing. Look where we went to, a little bit below it, but pretty good, right? Maybe we come back. But if you see this starting to move up, then you're better off in Bitcoin and gold, in my opinion. But you do you. S&P, just through these random lines that from all the way over here, I think this line was from over here from September 11. What? It was 26th of September of 2011, sorry. This is where you got the last line, right? All these are older. So it's a good guide. As you can see, it's called multiple touches right here. Look, that was X. So I think maybe S&P is trying to get up here. Maybe if also over here, I don't know. But we'll see. Maybe it goes above it. It's hold support. So watch out, guys. The Chinese versus the dollar. It looks like the yuan's about to rip all the way over here, right? Because I already showed you the power of these lines. It's like gravity. See how Coinbase is doing really quick. Are people buying Coinbase? Yeah, if it can break above this yellow line, right? All the alts kind of look like this. Look at Ondo, which is involved with tokenizing the world, and BlackRock's behind this. All-time lows. Look at ICP. All-time lows at one point. Right now it's at what, $2.04. But look, zoom out to the weekly, guys. Look at this chart. It's ridiculous. It used to be worth like $500 or something. You need to begin to DCA and learn about these things, like SUI too. Look, it's on the floor. Maybe we come back down and touch this line, but it looks like it wants to break out here. SUI, huh? Looking good. Liquid. I wish I would have bought more. This is where I trade in. You only need an email to trade, decentralized trading. The crypto stays in your wallet, and they already have gold and silver on it. So Arbitrum chain, maybe it comes back down. It's possible. But if it starts breaking out and holds support, watch out. Hyperliquid gonna lead the charge here. And what else can I show you guys? So yeah, this is, I think, crypto has bottom. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.